Well, hello, my name's Hannah and I'm the C5 Nut. Well, you're probably all wondering what's been going on lately. Work has just been taken over. Like, every second I'm doing some electrical work or God knows what else. Um, yeah, van's looking a bit better. I've also, because of fuel prices and everything else, decided now's the opportunity for me to go and bring a little car back into the world. So what I'm going to do is flip the camera around and show you. Hey, Jessie. Hello, darling. Right, so yes, the old little seicento is back in, and I've already actually done quite a lot of work to this. It's got what is it? New disc and pads on the front. She's had new shoes and brake cylinders and pipes fitted to it. She's got a full service done on it, so it's had oil, spark plugs, air filter, fuel filter. I will be doing a coolant change at some point. It's only because I got to take the bumper off, only because it's tight here, but I can get like the cross member is actually bent, so I've got to fix that. But in order for me to fix that, the bumper's got to come off and the radiator and all the other bits and pieces. So while I do that, I'll do a coolant change and everything else on this thing. So the plan for this little car is it's going to be towed behind my van, so I can actually park the van up somewhere and jump in the little car and use it to go to and from shops and all that stuff. So yeah. Right, so today's episode, well, it'd be technically tomorrow, but for you guys it'd be in a couple of minutes time. But we are going to be fitting the power steering onto this vehicle. I think it was last year, it might be the year before. I was talking about sticking electric power steering on this car. This model is an S, so they did an S, the SX, the Citymatic and the Sporting. Now the S was basic, as you want to go basic, so it had wind up windows, no central lock-in, no alloy wheels, no coloured bumpers, no sunroof, no power steering, no rev counter, none. It was just a basic car. Now the SX and the Citymatics had central lock-in, electric windows, had the power steering, and some of them even had the sunroof and the coloured bumpers. And obviously the Sporting has everything, including the rev counter, but it had a bigger engine in it as well. So this car is an S, so it was basic. I've had this car for coming up for 6 years. So I've done all the bits and pieces to it. I've done central lock-in, I've done electric windows, done rev counter. You can still have these rev counters fitted on the 900s, as well as the 1.1s. I did do a video, I think it was last year, year before, about how to fit the rev counter in it. The bumpers ain't original to the car. The bumpers are Michael Schumacher edition bumpers, and obviously the wheels are incorrect for this car. They're actually Cinquecento wheels. I was at the right place at the right time. These wheels came on at a really good price. I couldn't walk away from it. I had to buy them, and so yeah, I've left them as that. But right, so on today's video, on my workbench, this is the motor. So this will be bolted to underneath the dashboard. So that's what provides the power steering to the car, and then it has the ECU. Now I've actually stripped down half the wiring already to make it, you know, a bit easier. So yeah, what can I say? I tell you what, let's crack on. Right, so obviously it's now the morning. Right, so today what we're gonna do is fit this power steering unit. So first things first, guys, make sure you disconnect the cable. I'll just tuck it under there so it won't connect back up. Right, now what we want to do is remove the steering wheel, remove the plastic covers around where the wiper stalk is, to gain access for the bolts for these and the rest of the column. Now some steering wheels have an airbag, either the electronic version or the mechanical one. This one hasn't got an airbag, so I could just pull that off and undo the center bolt in the middle. But the ones with airbags, just like under here, there's like a little plastic cover, and you undo the plastic cover and there's like two Allen bolts on either side. So you take them out and obviously this will then come off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the video, I'm going to take the steering wheel off and take the covers off. The covers are Phillips screws, there's 4 of them, so you've got to take this off and the top cover in order to gain the 2 bolts, or the 3 bolts that hold this in place. So right, I'll quickly do this and I'll bring you back. Okay, so I've come up to a bit of an issue and I decided to let you guys know what has actually gone on. So previously you've seen that all this was all built together. Obviously to pop that off, there's only just like 1 bolt in there somewhere, and oh, there it is, that's a clamp. So pop that off, take all the covers off, allows you to get to the bolts for the speedo. Reason why I decided to just go full Monty on it, I didn't realise, well, I stupidly forgot this. That's old school speedo cable, and obviously when I took all the gubbins and ECUs out for the power steering, that car didn't have it, it was all electronic. But there's one thing I did get, or I did take from the other car, which I'm very thankful I did, and it's sitting on my bench. Right, so this is my speedo. I've actually stripped it down. Now across here there's a load of lights, so I flip it over, you can see the elephant in the room, this thing, that's a mechanical speedo. Now I kept the other one from the other car, and obviously you can see it's completely different, you know, this is all electronic. And I was like, oh crap, how am I going to get around this one? Because obviously there's 3 wires that go to the speedo, so not entirely sure how I'm going to get around this one. So I spent about an hour backtracing each wire for the motor. So this is like the wiring, so I had to backtrace all the wiring, and I came across the light. Now I don't know if this is going to work, but if I put that in, you might just be able to see just the steering wheel there, just on that right hand side. So that's the light that we actually need to connect up to, which is this thing here. This is a little board with the little LED light on. Now how am I going to get that from there to there? Well, I couldn't help noticing it's got the same plug, basically the same cable. So in theory that should be able to screw on there and plug into this cable. But then it leaves me the other option. 1, 2, 3, 4 plugs. 1, 2, 3. And it's like, right, okay, so how am I going to do this one? So again, back traced all of this cable, trying to work out which one's which. And I came across that the signal wire to operate that light is this pin down here. But on the other one, when I back traced the old cable, it actually comes out as the pin 1 on this side. So double check the car and make sure that there is no wire on this terminal, which there isn't. So in theory, I should be able to connect one wire to that terminal, and the other 2 wires that had these joins in. Lucky enough, there is 2 of these wires that I actually need. So you've got the pink and black wire here, which is the same as what's in the car, and a black and purple wire here, again, which is also in the car. So my theory is, if I was to connect these 2 wires to the one in the car, and then the one that needs that sensor, you know, to connect it on there, as long as I put it on the right pin on this side, in theory, it may work. So what I'm going to do is quickly put this onto there and make it all nice and pretty. I'll quickly do some wiring and then I'll bring it back. Yeah, so I'll put my hand up. Yeah, I've learnt quite a lot about these cars. God knows how long. You know, I've been playing around with the seicentos since 2003, 2004. So yeah, you know, my first car was the Citymatic, so I learnt quite a lot about that car. But obviously this black one, it's an S model, and yeah, you learn really quickly what you can and what you can't do with them. And even though this video was regards to power steering issues, or fitting power steering to a car that's never had it before, you learn really quickly that the wiring loom isn't the same, it's all different. I mean, you know, I've come across quite a lot of electrical issues which I can overcome, no problem. But there's things that were out of my control, and that is the fact of I'm missing one crucial part. So this is the motor, or the steering column with the motor. It's quite hefty. The part in question we're missing is that sits on here. This goes down to sort of like the steering rack, so basic like a CV joint type for the steering mechanism. I thought I could get away with using the one in the car. Unfortunately, nah. The one in the car is completely different, and it doesn't even fit this, which sucks. So even though I had electrical issues and all like mechanical speedo, and you know, trying to sort this stuff out, I kind of overlooked about the old mechanical bit. So I will sort of put a stop to this project, power steering wise, for now, but we